Hey everybody, how's it? Long time since I've done like a Patreon-a-thon. A long time coming. So yes, scrubbed through my Patreon. Also pulled some tracks from some older suggestions that were kind of building up. So this is going to be 7 or 8 tracks of music coming from Patreon. Thank you all over there for support. Also, thank you guys also for continuing to come here to this YouTube channel. Obviously, things are changing. A lot of people are leaving comments of like, dude, I thought you left. It's been a couple years. I've never seen your stuff on my browser. It doesn't show up anymore. Yeah, I guess that's maybe YouTube doing what YouTube does best. But nonetheless, I still show up. I come here because I enjoy listening to music and most of all listening to music with you guys based on your suggestions. Once again, this is a Patreon-a-thon, so this is coming from the folks that support me over at Patreon. If you want to do that, that link's down below. I also have the Wheel of Cheese on Twitch. That link is down below, open to suggestions. But enough of that stuff. Let's get to our first track. This is a big throwback, this first track. As you can see, it's already queued up here. This is Skid Row, and the name of this track is Monkey Business. So let's start our monkey business and see what we got here. All right.
Trouble coming, the cartoon killers and the rank of clones. Stack heels kicking a rhythm of social circumcision.
I love the Southern Blues vibe of the clean guitar playing right there. Every rock metal band in the 80s, drummer had that big cowbell right there in between the toms. Get the ride, get the ride. I need more cowbell! Go! Okay. Cowbell is just absolutely epically huge in that. It is such a call to nostalgia. If you would, for a lot of the tracks that came out in the 80s, though I wasn't really steeped in it. I'd always, for some reason, there's cowbell there. One of the cool things, excuse me, one of the cool things I want to mention briefly is the first, every time in the verses, the first section and the second section thus far of the first verse, and now in this verse as well, while the riff is going, the riff is going off, the bass is staying right in a really tight pocket. It's not following that in unison. And I think that's what really makes that riff really stand out. The coming in from that super chill intro, jumping right into the heavy metal vibe of it with the style of the voice and everything is so freaking nostalgic for me. Because like I said, I wasn't really steeped in 80s metal, or if this was considered, I don't know what genre this was considered, long hair or glam or anything, or if this was part of the metal scene. The other thing is the obvious engineering. Like I listen to this as an old engineer and I go, oh my God, I remember when you used to get the snare sound like that big, stomp and deep snare sound. Anyhow, let's go. And the bass tone is pretty damn sick. Kind of anthemy. Great clean section. Can you hear the second vocals with the reverse reverb on it? They're drilling the hell out of that hook, aren't they? Big riff ending, no fade. This was during an era, though, in the record industry where the A&R folks at labels really had a chokehold on formulating albums so that it fit radio play. And what I mean by that is all the way through probably the late 1990s until radio started fading, obviously after the internet, where you can expand more of your creativity. You always had to be into a minute to win it, right? You guys have heard me say that before. Into the hook within a minute to win it. And in this case, not only were they in the hook to the minute to win it, but they repeated that hook probably 6-7 times. So hook-wise, Monkey Business as a hook is just ginormous. And it's really super fun and riffy track too. Once again, I wasn't a fan of a lot of metal and stuff in the 80s because I was off doing my own music stuff. And another thing that, as I recalled about the engineering and the drum sound and stuff like that, also the guitar tones. It's so 80s, and that's not a bad thing. It's at all. It's just nostalgic for me because of the fact that what music I did hear at the time just brings me back in my head, and that's what we all do, right? In music being the soundtrack of our life, we listen to something that brings it right back. So, in continuing that from Patreon here on the Patreon-a-thon, I got another one here you guys are gonna like if you're into that metal vibe of the 80s. I don't know if this was done in the 80s, but this is a band called Whitesnake, and this is called Still of the Night. Okay, let's go. Are we borrowing some stuff from Zeppelin?
My body started shaking and I can't take no more. No.
Isn't she a like famous model?
I just wanna get close to you and taste your love so sweet. And I just wanna make love to you, feel your body in the still of the night. In the still of the night. Over here, baby.
Okay, is it me or is this like a major tip of the hat to Zeppelin? I don't know. I'm hearing so many different little things that are reminding me of, like, you know, from the Physical Graffiti album and stuff like that. It's not a bad thing. I mean, Whitesnake obviously has been around for years and tons of music and stuff. This particular track, boy, is there some big Zeppelin tip of the hats going on.
Here today
Even that right there. I mean, it's great, but uh-oh, sounds like they're going to go into the solo from. Oh, there's pads back there. Okay. Why am I getting like the Moby Dick vibes here from Zeppelin as well? Just without the pads. I don't know. Maybe it's just the hi-hat going. I'm waiting for. Well, I love what the bass is doing there. Nice chill section. I love this. This is a really nice section. Wow, the engineering on that kick. What a trip. Shall we add an ostinato? Nice. That was a great build-up back into this. I love what the bass is doing here through this whole pattern, or this whole section. That was the go-to 1980s run. What does that remind me of? Guys, help me out. What is that section?
No, I just wanna get close to you, taste your love so sweet. And I just wanna make love to you, feel your body heat. In the still of the night. Oh yeah. In the still of the night.
And those background vocals, that fifth was such a signature. Such a signature sound in background vocals. A lot of bands in the 80s had to have something like that, I believe. That 80s fade. So I didn't, maybe it's because I didn't see it on stage, but I didn't see a keyboardist. However, there was a lot of work going on in there, in that midsection especially. And at the very beginning, and a couple of other times in the hook, I was going, no, I'm not hearing that, am I? But since my mind was brought the attention in that middle section, because you had this, you know, little string pattern going on there. You had other little pads going on there, overdub, obviously. Even on this outro here, on this vamp, there was, but behind all that, there was a little bit of kind of like a fried pad back there. Not fried, not over fried, but kind of like an analog pad that was still kind of supporting it in the back. But anyhow, the track was super riffed out, but super, like, there were, like, I don't know, is it me? It pulled a lot from some older Zeppelin kind of stuff, which is a tip of the hat. I'm sure maybe if that's what it was that I was hearing. So yeah, I'm still in my mind. I'm kind of marinating over that because I've heard of Whitesnake. Obviously, I did live through the '80s. I wasn't that head under the, with MTV and stuff like that. But yeah, look at me. I'm just kind of tripping. I just thought I thought the track was great. I thought it was great riffage going on in there. And the drum sound and where it was in the mix was a little different for me compared to, the first track that I heard. But obviously, everybody's mixing things differently based on engineers and producers and A&R stuff like that. I don't know. It was a damn good track. Okay, next up here, we have a track that's coming in for our Patreon-a-thon. Let's see what this is. This is called the Savatage. And so nobody knows what we're going to get here. So let's see what this is, and then I'll fill you in a little bit. Oh, here we go. Thank God for the 4 on the floor with the hi-hat. Those eighth notes. I don't know if that's a bass or maybe an 8-string guitar. That's being doubled with a synth lead. That's crazy. Totally different than the first two tracks, obviously. So prog metal at its finest here. The artist is Stefan Taranto. I don't know if forgive me if I didn't sound out the last name correctly. So now we've gone into massive prog syncopated riff salad here that is just so mind-numbingly well layered. I believe that if this is just an individual that maybe playing all the tracks, maybe having a friend play the drums or something, or programmed, I don't know. It's not important. What's important to me is the fact that this composer is able to make these intricate layers with the riff rhythmically and still leave enough space for melodic stuff to happen when he breaks into the lead and does a lot of work. You know, there's almost like boxes that you have to check off if you're going to be at this level of prog in production. And, you know, technique, technique, composition, syncopation, meter switches and trickery and stuff like that. In this case, for as much work that's going on there rhythmically, you know, all through and through, drums all the way through, that syncopated vibe, thank God we have the hi-hat holding the eighths down. You know, something that the composer does that's unique is there's times where I think I'm hearing what could be some synth work, not the one that we obviously heard when I smiled. I went, ooh, that's nice. Yes. But he had a lead synth following one of his lines, it sounded like. And then when there was some pad work, he left it kind of closed, not stereo image, hard left, hard right. He left it at like probably like 10 to 2. You know what that means, 10 to 2. And right down the middle, which still left the riff or the guitar work very airy and spacey. So it still kept the chunk in there without getting too ethereal and ambient by letting those ring out hard left, hard right. It just takes this to a different zone. Can you hear it? Nice. It kind of gives me an Ollie Steele vibe. That great guitarist, Ollie Steele. Nice. Wow, a lot of work in those layers. So much going on there, man. For gosh sakes, man, that is such, you know, the limits that are being pushed. Apparently you saw me scroll really quick. This was just released maybe a couple months back. And this is a representation of the times of musicians that keep pushing their skill set, their uniqueness, while still keeping the authenticity of a genre, which still this throws me. I don't know if this is not. I can't. I have a hard time sometimes. When do I apply the word math to a genre? Does it have to do with a lot of the trickery that's going on, a lot of the like fretboard parkour, if you would, because there's a lot of bouncing and jumping that's going on there. Progressive metal, I'm going to lean into the fact that, like I was just saying, though, there was a lot of passages that had some very unique guitar techniques. One of the ones that I really enjoy when guitar players and musicians and composers of this particular performance ability does is when they're using open strings and going dum ba ba boom boom. They're diving back into the root of a pattern, but they're like 2 octaves up, so it's boom da da boom ba da boom da da. And of course, you do it faster and cleaner. Doesn't sound as shitty as I just sounded. So intriguing, and the type of hours and hours and hours it's got to go into just working out the technique. That's one thing. The other thing is to put something as complicated as this together is mind-numbing. In my head, like the last probably minute and a half, you probably saw me just drift off because I was going, oh, check out those chord changes. It just reminds me of like, this is like such an aficionado type of composition where it's like jazz clubs. You know what I'm saying? It's like you go to jazz clubs, they don't have 1,500 seats, and stuff like that. I don't know any better way to put it. This is just so progressive. And you have to have an ear for this. You have to kind of, but the great thing is that for the last 15 years, let's say, this particular style has slowly been growing. What I mean is that as the complexity of the compositions are moving up, if you've been listening to this particular genre for a few years, which I haven't, but because of this channel, I've afforded myself the opportunity through your suggestions to go, wow, who are this? And then, so it's almost like this growth. It's almost as if you're in love with this particular genre and have the respect for the musicians and stuff. And as you move up, going, oh my God, look what he just did there. Oh, listen to that, listen to that, listen to that. And I got to be honest with you, with this kind of musicianship, with the drums and the guitar and all that sort of stuff, it does become a thing where you are circled by your peers, most likely going to shows and stuff like that, or, the audience members that are just, power audiophiles, if that's the right word. But what a kick-ass listen, man. That was absolutely mind-numbing. Okay, next up, we have, what's this called? This is an OST. And this is from Guilty Gear Strive. Oh, I remember this person from Patreon said, because I have the video game channel where I listen to video game music and stuff like that. That link's down below. He said, this is a video game, but it was heavy metal. So, which is not new because of my video game listening. I've heard quite a bit, but he said, put this on the Decomposer Lounge. So we're doing that. Here we go. All right. Oh, shit.
I know who I am. That moonlight lake told me this is who you are. My veins are so long, my nails are sharp on the night. That is me.
Video game composers, man.
That is bullshit blazing. Still my heart is blazing. If the words kill me, I don't need a new one under you. Soon you will know. We already know the smell of the game.
Damn. I love that. What a callback to more of the raw 80s vibe, yeah?
You're trapped in the toxic created by this world. That is who you are. You're silent losing now. You're loving it sometimes without clothing it gets out from the ground. That is bullshit blazing. Still my heart is blazing. If I lose my wings, I don't need a new world under you.
Listen to the background vocals are an octave lower.
We already know the smell of the game.
Now, you see, this is, first of all, the power and the metal and everything is really super fat callback vocals and everything to an 80s vibe and stuff. But because this is a video game, and from what little experience I have from listening to it, a lot of these video game composers really know how to take something even as gnarly as this and infuse really super powerful melody, you know, that we may not expect, you know, when we're listening, let's say, to this heavier metal vibe. This has a little bit more of an upbeat, vibey melody going on. And you can tell how some of the chord changes start to happen and stuff like that, that it becomes a little more like, I don't want to say pop metal is not the way to say it because these guys are grounding out and stuff like this, but a little bit more of a focus on the melody with the chord changes. It's not so much about, you know, keeping it dark and heavy and nasty and gnarly, which they've, you know, the composer's done hands down. Another thing is there's a lot of things that are happening there that in a typical metal track might be shoved forward in the mix, and a lot of stuff like really fast runs and stuff are buried in the back. But this is actually very video game music, but with a wretched, powerful metal kind of vibe, if I do say so my damn self. Wow. Pulling in everything from like Queen and different styles here.
What am I? What am I? What am I? What am I?
Okay.
Mankind knew that they cannot change society, so instead of reflecting on themselves, they blamed
This is badass. Yeah.
but they found beauty in the lives of beasts and couldn't lie to themselves about it.
Can't you see I'm blazing? Still my heart is blazing. If the words kill me, I
Doesn't have kind of between the Buried and Me vibes. For Avenged Sevenfold.
Your words will never let me disappear. That is bullshit blazing. Still my heart is blazing. If the words kill me, I don't need a new word. I'll you.
Wow.
Soon you will know. We already know the smell of the smell of the smell of the game.
Well, there's no two ways about it. A composer's presence is very well felt here as far as, like I said earlier, keeping to the context of how a lot of game music is written with a really big emphasis on melody and stuff like this. Musically, with musicianship, was as top level as you could possibly get. There was a couple times in there that did feel a little between the Buried and Me, Avenged Sevenfold-ish kind of vibes in there. But there was all other things folding in on this track. But video game music has been probably one of my biggest joy in the last year since I've had, you know, the new Twitch channel that I've started. It's called the Avocado. And then that other channel where I'll take stuff from Twitch and put it there. It's such a journey with video game music. But metal-wise, especially, well, we got Doom and many other tracks that, you know, some of it sticks to the, like for instance, with Mick Gordon writing Doom, he's much more steeped in the current vibes of the Genty Thal kind of composition, where I'm finding that a lot of composers from Japan, or a lot of composers that write metal music for their tracks, especially, well, you know, Doom and this, two different kinds of video games, obviously, but a lot of the more seasoned composers, when they dive back in for influences, you know, to write power metal or any tracks like that, they really kind of dive back into the 80s, because the 80s had a lot of those, you know, verse 1A, verse 1B, turnaround, or pre-chorus, chorus, turnaround, V2, you know, 3 verses, changes. You know, there was always a lot of stuff. It wasn't just driven down on riffs and stuff like that. There was a lot of changes of bridge. All of a sudden, a big dynamic comes in. Shut it down. Just do this. Get everybody back into a small, chill place and blow it back up again. So there's a lot of these strong dynamics in the composition. Obviously, the musicians that were used on here are top-notch, and it was absolutely so far, first 2 tracks, 80s. Third track, super proggy and stuff. Very unique change. Also for a track that was just released apparently a year ago. I don't know if that means that this video was released or the music was. If you notice, we're hearing quite the shift in guitar tones. We had the 80 guitar tones, and we had that full proggy vibe. Now this one had a little bit more of a darker, progressive drive to it. Didn't sound like it was a plug-in per se. So anyhow, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Okay, next up we have. This is Ghost in the Ruins by Savatage. So once again, this is suggestions coming in from my Patreon channel, of which I still want to thank everybody who's there. Thank you so much for your support. It does mean a lot, and so I appreciate it. Henceforth, every now and then I do these Patreon-a-thons. All right, let's do this. All right. I like that blend with the keys. Love the bass tone on this one, and where it's placed in the mix as well. This pre-chorus is a jam for me. I'm loving that. Oh, that gigantic plate sound on the snare. That reverb. More of that cleaner 70s sound for the solo. Love that. Nice little Satriani vibe there. Ooh, the pace is cooking. I love how they're giving us enough time to rinse in this. There's an important part to that I'm going to bring up in a second. Banging ending right there. You know, what I was saying earlier about that, that to me was the root of the hook throughout the whole track. It makes this, a track like this really super hooky because they use, it sounded like, I could be wrong, you know, getting a little bobo. It sounded like that pattern was in the verse, and then they do their pre-chorus, and then they use that same pattern for the hook, and then of course in production they make it really bold by you know, adding the fatter background vocals and stuff. But that was the through and through. Dun, 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 dun. That's what's stuck in my head right now. Dun, 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 dun. Now, excuse me. Now, when they got into the that midsection, like a minute and a half, man, that was really badass. I really love that, you know. And this was probably in an era. You saw me at the very beginning. You can hear me wheezing, a little bit of asthma. I was looking at some more information on this, and apparently this was done in 1991. So this is kind of like that period, you know, where bands were like looking for different ways to move forward in the genres, maybe darken up a little more, or maybe start a little bit more of a progressive vibe in production. You know what I'm saying? It's that era, I think, in that 80s era where I remember watching an MTV thing where bands were complaining about the grunge alternative scene or something like that, and everyone was saying, oh my God, it's the end for us or something. But there were bands that were still trying to push the envelope. And it seems like this would be in that same zone in 1991. So they pushed all the envelopes, and there was a lot of like the vibe guitar-wise that kind of pulled in some of the more intrinsic 80s kind of energy, but a little bit more of a progressive production and engineering for the 1991 era. So that was Savatage. I never heard it once again because I was aloof. I was a goner during most of the 80s and early 90s. So, all right, next up here, we have another one here, more metal for your meshing. This one is called Old Star, and I think the name of the band is Dark Throne. Okay, let's see what we got here. All right. Got ourselves some black metal going on here. Let's go. Those dark connected power chords are so badass. Everything's connected. Wow, that saturation, the bottom end of it, the fry of it, it's like a mixed saturation. And I love the fact that the bass is cutting, but it's not overdriven. It's following the drum pattern really tight. Man, this is dark as hell. The recording of this, to me, you know, I didn't say much on this because, I mean, there was repetitive patterns that were going on there that just wanted to just pound you with the message, give you the people's elbow with that black metal kind of, if I'm right, is it black metal kind of? What I was really kind of like really enjoying more than anything, we heard a lot of music on this session here, progressive and a lot of riff and stuff like this, but this darkness and heaviness, which I think, and I don't know obviously, but you would think after 3 years of doing the Decomposer Lounge and what little black metal I've heard that I would have some idea, but I know things change, or one little element can change and all of a sudden it's, instead of it's black metal, then it becomes black metal prog something or other. This has that, like I said, what I love about this whole track is that all the guitar chord changes, everything was connected. There was no chugginess of it. There was just these chord changes. It's just like once it's on, whoosh. And they just kept coming at you. The bass sound on this was oddly enough, but cool enough, sounded more of a clean, kind of nosy, you know, if you're a bass player, kind of a clean nosy kind of vibe, you know. So it wasn't like, it didn't sound like it was distorted and overdriven to add a little more to, you know, the bottom end of it as far as the angst and the saturation. But it actually, because of it, though, it stood out in a lot of places. Like, for instance, the two times where da da da, and the drums are you know, busy with the toms. The bass player's following the pattern of the drums, while the while the guitars are still just, you know, hammering out their chords and stuff. And of course, vocally, you know, it is as black metal as you can get. So anyhow, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you guys are having a great weekend. Wherever you are in the world, count the wins, morning, evening, afternoon. Music's always music. It's great to take a break, listen to music. Thank you guys once again on Patreon. That means so much that you guys, for the few of you that are still there supporting me, I can't tell you how much that means. You know, and I open up always over there to suggestions. If you haven't checked it out, all the links are down below. The video game channel's been doing very well. I've been having a good time there. Same thing, but more video game music, which means more of a broader kind of musical genre. And then, of course, my Twitch, which I haven't done for a couple weeks because I just recovered for some surgery here. And so, which I'm okay. It was just hernia stuff, but it just kind of, I'm kind of keeping my head into the game for a while, long enough to do streams and stuff. But all the links are down below. Thank you guys so much for your support. And you guys know how I always love to end this. If you are still here, type in, I'm still here. You guys take care. All right.